Ride-sharing apps like Uber and Lyft have grown in popularity beyond anyone's imagination, which basically means that people all over the world, including us, are getting into vehicles with absolute strangers more frequently than ever before.
And with that comes the increase in possibility and frequency of assaults during these interactions.
An incident took place here in Los Angeles on April 3rd that we'd like to discuss with you guys, along with 3 critical safety tips for every rideshare user.
And 3 chokes every woman should know.
On April 3rd, early in the morning, a man named D'Artagnan Smith, 39-year-old man, posed as an Uber driver and picked up a woman who was waiting for an Uber that was ordered by her friend.
Correct.
The man invited her into the car, and the man drove away a few blocks and then sexually assaulted her in the vehicle. During the attack, she drew enough attention that neighbors heard screaming from the vehicle and they called police.
Okay.
So the police came, the vehicle was still there with the doors locked and them inside the vehicle. They banged on the window, the doors were not open, the man jumped into the driver's seat and drove off, almost hitting a police officer, which ultimately led to the police officer firing at the vehicle, not knowing what was going on, or that there was an innocent person in there. Fired at the vehicle. Eventually the vehicle got away. The woman was found a few blocks away. He had dropped her off.
Yeah, and this woman, he had actually choked her unconscious 3 times during the assault as well, in
Right.
the back of the car.
And it was said that DNA evidence, including the evidence of her nail scrapings on the subject, were used to run a DNA search, and they corresponded with the individual that was later captured soon after, and then is now behind bars as a result of it. So we couldn't be more proud of both her ability to draw attention to the situation and ultimately get help there. And then, of course, the idea of using your fingernails to scrape is
and
a
even
very...
participating with law enforcement, that's a really hard thing to do after an assault like this, to actually catch the guy. And she went through the, all the steps necessary, and they did find him.
She survived. We couldn't be more proud, and that's all that really matters. And if you're out there, she wasn't identified in the reports that were out there for obvious reasons, but we'd like to invite her for training here at the Gracie Academy, free of charge. It'd be an honor to work with her and show her some amazing techniques that can be used anytime in the future. We'd also like to discuss some critical safety tips since ride sharing is becoming so popular that everyone needs to know.
Yeah, and looking into this incident, we found far too many incidents that have happened, not just here in Los Angeles, but all over the world with both Uber and these ride-sharing apps. Either somebody posing to be an Uber driver or somebody who actually is one of these drivers, and an assault takes place.
ID, inside, in touch. ID, when you order a ride-sharing service, make sure you verify the ID of both the driver and the vehicle that they are coming to pick you up in. And if someone else orders the Uber or the Lyft or the ride-sharing service for you, you should make sure that they're there when the ride-sharing service shows up so you can verify on their phone. So that's very important to make sure the person who's picking you up actually is who they say they are.
Right.
Inside.
Make sure that you wait inside for your driver to show up. And the app sends you a notification when the driver arrives so that you can be waiting inside. And this lessens the chance of you waiting outside. In similar to this case, somebody saw somebody waiting, knew that they were waiting for a ride, whether it be a taxi or an Uber, and they posed as that driver. So this lessens the likelihood of that occurring if you're waiting inside of your location.
Absolutely. Whenever possible, that is ideal. And then remaining in touch. Usually these ride-sharing services, the app allows you to share the details of your trip. You can share those details with a friend or family member so they know where you are at all times and can check in to make sure everything's okay.
Yeah, so keep in touch with your friends and family. Let them know where you're at and where you're going.
Now, if you do everything right, all of these situations, all of these details, it's still possible that you are assaulted. So that being said, if you are trapped in a vehicle, if you can, escape the vehicle. If you can't, and maybe you're in the back seat in a situation where the attacker is assaulting you, there are things you can do. Now, we as jiu-jitsu instructors, of course, run the database of techniques that we know and ask ourselves 2 questions. What can be effective for a smaller person against a larger, more athletic opponent? And what can be effective in the confines of the back seat of a vehicle?
Yeah, and unfortunately, striking is not ideal in these situations, partly because you're so confined that you don't have the proper range or distance to strike, not to mention whatever range or distance you have, he also has on you, and so that he can strike us right back.
Right. Not only that, submissions. We have several submissions in the Gracie Jiu-Jitsu database to pull from, but many of them require extension and openings such as arm bars or joint locks where you lock something and you stretch and you create that opening. The problem is in the confines of the ceiling of the vehicle there, your feet running into the vehicle, you might not be able to hyperextend the joint effectively, and it could aggravate the situation. So ultimately what this boils down to is chokes. Chokes. 3 chokes we want to teach, the most basic and effective chokes in the arsenal, starting with the guillotine choke. Now, the guard is a very common position in jiu-jitsu. During a sexual assault, it may be the final destination for the attacker, but if you know what you're doing on bottom, it's a position of power, and there are amazing things you can do from here. So guard stage 1 is where Eve begins. She has me close inside her guard. Check out this first choke. It's called the guillotine.
Ooh-wee.
6 seconds, you're unconscious. Eve, show us what you did.
Sure, so from here, his weight is a little bit too heavy on me, so I use my legs to kind of push off his weight so that I can get his head underneath my arm. I stuff it under the arm. Now I want to sit up. There, I get on my side. I sit up completely so that I can shoot the choke, connect my hands, and now sit back underneath him here. Now while I'm extending my legs and curling into the choke, there it is.
So if sitting up is not an option for the guillotine choke, there's another amazing cross choke you can use when the person is wearing a shirt or a jacket of any kind. And in 6 seconds, the person is unconscious. Show us what you did, Eve.
So right here, we call this stage 1 of the punch block series, where I'm controlling his head and his arms so that he can't punch me from this position. Closeness is my friend here. Now I reach back and I gather his shirt together to get a good grip on his shirt. Now my hand will come around and I'll create this grip here, palm up. Now my other hand will hand off and my thumb will go inside, gripping his shirt here. Now I can put my foot on the hip and create distance just enough to get my arm around his head here, keeping my head close so that he can't punch me. And now pull with the shoulder blades.
So in a situation where Eve cannot pull me down and close the distance here because the person is too far away, watch what she does. And in 6 seconds, he's unconscious, just like the other chokes.
So from here, this is called the triangle choke. And all I want is his head and one arm inside my legs. And so to do that, I can kind of move one arm out of the way while my legs come up and around his body here. So I'm securing his head and an arm. I want to swipe this arm out of the way so that he can't reach my face. And now from here, I can control his head. My foot can go on his hip to create the angle that I need to grab my own shin. And now lock my leg over my own ankle here. And now this is the triangle position. You see the triangle with my legs. It's a beautiful choke. I can control his head here, and I squeeze with my thighs, and 6 seconds, it's over.
So these are the 3 chokes that we think that every woman should know. But more importantly, we would also like to invite women all over the world to attend the free July 16th Women Empowered Self-Defense Seminar, 3 to 5 p.m., a 2-hour seminar, absolutely free, where they can learn the most important foundational techniques of jiu-jitsu for self-defense, boundary setting, and the psychological concepts that you need to stay safe during an attack. So we're going to be having that seminar here at Gracie Academy headquarters in Torrance. If you live anywhere in Southern California or anywhere at all and you'd like to travel, come check us out. We'd love to have you for that free seminar. And if you don't live in Southern California or you can't get to Torrance, check out our website where we have several other locations offering the same exact seminar on the same day.
Ladies, we have such a fun time at this seminar. Henry and I will be teaching it along with our instructors here at the Academy. Last time we had 180 women in attendance. So make sure you sign up as soon as you can because spots are limited. We can only fit so many women on this big, beautiful green mat, but we really hope to see you in attendance.
Absolutely no experience necessary. Reservation information in the description below. We'll see you on the mat.
We kind of defeat ourselves with the perception that it doesn't belong to us or somehow we don't connect. And it's really because of our own perception of what it is. And what we really need to do is get in there and learn what it's really about and see how it really is for everybody.
Ever since learning Women Empowered, I never have that uncomfortable uncertainty anymore. I just have this real confidence, and it's just so powerful to me that I can just it's so funny that it still makes me cry. It just makes me so happy.
As women, we have the right to control our bodies and our boundaries. Women Empowered has given me the tools to do just that. Where's my phone? I need to order another Uber.